The reptilian head statue found in the island of Crete of Greece, it was found near a small church. We have visited Crete for research purposes in the last 7 years, and despite the amount of information we have collected in our archive, from our personal research and from hundreds of videos and photos we've taken and analyzed, we feel that we're still at the beginning. As the size of the island, the incredible history, let's remember it was the Minoan Empire that was here, and we have records of all these Minoans being giants in the ancient giants, and the Philistines. As recorded in the Old Testament, the Philistines came from the island of Crete. So the size of the island, incredible history, ancient and modern, and myths and traditions accompanying it, and the endless caves from the Asterousia Mountains to Omalos created a huge reservoir of information, which requires, fortunately enough, more trips. In our last research trip carried out in the summer of 2012 by Argyris and Nikos, we limited ourselves only to the western side of the island, and after investigating several caves and areas that are known for strange legends, for example, demons that come out of caves and carry out kidnappings, night lights, strange birds that look like huge bats, elves that kidnap people, and fairies that on some moonless nights, the music of the dances that they set up can be heard from the caves. And we decided that the icing on the cake, quote unquote, is a visit to the reptilian head of Georgiopolis. So taking the national road from Chania to Rethymno, about 20 minutes later, we reached the junction of Georgiopolis, and after leaving the main road, we started to climb a relatively small hill on the north side. The reptilian head statue is found in the chapel of St. Anthony, a small chapel that can hardly fit more than 10 people inside, and which is built under the rocks of a small cliff. It's pretty well hidden, not visible from any side of the road, and if you'd like to visit, you'd have to ask a local, or you'll be in quite a bit of trouble. We did the same by asking a kind, smiling gentleman who worked in a lumber workshop, also the first building we came across coming out of the highway. Although he initially passed us off as gold hunters looking for our own treasures, as there are many legends about hidden treasures from the Turkish occupation of this area, he located us and we continued to drive up the small hill. About 500 to 600 meters later, we turned right, entering a narrow dirt road that could hardly fit the vehicle. We traveled about 1 kilometer and came to a small clearing where we left the car and continued on foot for another kilometer. The reptilian head statue can be found a few meters from a small church dedicated to the great desert Saint Anthony of the Desert, who also has a nickname of Saint of the Gorgias. Now, what hides the reptilian head in Crete? What is it hiding? What does it mean? The tradition says that this particular area was the hermitage of a monk who wanted to fill his endless hours of solitude, carving a flat rock of purely utilitarian reasons, and made it a terrace to sit on, and he made the edge of the rock in the form of a dragon for decoration reasons. In the Christian tradition of Crete, as strange as it may sound today, the dragon was a very common decorative symbol in church art, especially in the iconostasis, the wood carvings of churches. But there is one more tradition that piqued our interest. The small church of St. Anthony is built at the base of a small cliff and under the rocks, while to its right there are openings the size of which a man could pass through and which seem to lead to vertical caves. The same openings in the rocks, but roughly closed, also exit next to the reptilian head. Tradition says that the practice of rebuilding Christian temples in caves was very widespread, as in earlier times when there were suspicions of supernatural activity, the place was sealed with a temple. A few years ago, in December 2002, One of the magazines of Greece had published an article about a particular statue with the title, "The Strange Being of Crete," quote unquote. There we also found that the churches of St. Marina and St. Anthony are placed where phenomena of peculiar creatures are presented, which are perceived by Christianity as demons, etc. Arriving at the small church of St. Anthony, we easily spotted the reptilian head, which you can find just 5 to 6 meters away. The first thing that caught our attention is the incredible symmetry, incredibly even, and although it has suffered a little corrosion from being exposed to the weather in winter and summer, it is in very good condition. The age is unknown. Its size is not small, since it's about 50 centimeters high, 45 centimeters wide, 50 centimeters deep. Ear holes are easily discernible, while the teeth are large and naturally reptilian. At certain angles, it resembles something between a human and an ape, especially the upper part, while from other parts of space it reminds us of well-known reports about the forms of extraterrestrial creatures that we read on the internet and in space magazines. Today, no one knows the true purpose of its creation, and we will probably never know. It may have been created by this unknown monk who wanted to fill his endless hours, as we were told by older residents of the area. It may have once been created in honor of these peculiar creatures that lived in these caves, and was the reason for the creation of the Temple of St. Anthony in order to seal the area, as tradition says, or may have been created for reasons we cannot imagine. The only thing that's certain is that this quote-unquote reptilian god will continue to be found there next to the chapel of St. Anthony, with his gazing at the deep blue of the horizon, haughty, lonely, but imposing, and for some maybe a little scary. And this I've translated for you from a Greek article from Nikos Apostolopoulos, Research for Extraterrestrial Intelligent Life. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support, and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.